Rishus Harav Shlita, Marad Asra, Rishus HaGabayim, Rishus HaKar Kadosh. I was thinking about doing a sikum on Inyane de Yoma from the Gmara with the Rishonim, more things that are in the Rishonim than Torah that I would come up with. And I think there's things that are very much nogea from the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah that we need to know and we need to emphasize in this time of the year. One of the questions that always one has when he learns the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, you know, the famous Gemara of Shloisha Sfarim Niftochim b'Rosh Hashanah, Echad shel Reshaim Gemurim, Echad shel Tzadikim Gemurim, Ve'echad shel Benonim. Tzadikim Gemurim Nichtavim Ve'nechtamim right away on Rosh Hashanah, Reshaim also, and Benonim are waiting to be sealed on Yom Kippur. With the Rishonim, Rashi right away says over here that what does it mean? Tzadikim, what's considered tzadikim? Rashi says that he has more schusim than Averis. That's what it is. And Tosfos asks over here, and the Rishonim ask, if that's so you have a question that you see many times that tzadikim die within the year. They shouldn't have died. They should have made it. Tzadikim nechtamim right away. L'chaim and Hashem on the opposite. But the more relevant question is that I always had is I don't understand the mashmos over here very clearly that as long as he has one mitzvah more than the aveira, it's considered a tzaddik. He has an aveira more than the mitzvah, is considered a rasha. That's what it is. This is how the Rishonim learn it. And therefore, what's the chances that us are exactly punkt on the Benonim? What's the chances that we don't have more mitzvahs than Averis more than mitzvahs? So who already makes it to Yom Kippur? It's a very shver kasha. Who already makes it to Yom Kippur? It seems like everything is already sealed on Rosh Hashanah. That's what it is. Especially the way the Rishonim learn. The Chinuch learns differently. The Chinuch in Shin Yud Aleph says that tzaddikim that assign that tzaddikim gemurim without any averis. Rashaim that assign right away are Rashaim gemurim without any mitzvahs. Okay, so they don't have anything to keep them going. The Rashaim gemurim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu already seals their din right away. And everybody else in between are benoinim. That makes a lot of that's very clear. So we all davening throughout Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur, and we open him the Heichal and Avinu Malkeinu, and we do whatever we do throughout those 10 days of tshuva. According to the Chinuch, it's very clear. But how do you explain this according to other Rishonim? So over here, there's machlokes within the Rishonim how to learn this. Different shittas. It's all known that Tosfos learns very differently than the Ramban and the Ran. And it comes out halacha l'maisa actually. The Rama says that on Rosh Hashanah you wish one the other, l'shana toiva tekatevu. You should be written without the chasima. Without. Now again Avram says you should also add that chatima as well. But you don't have to according to the Rama. And the guy explains that this is because we go la'alacha according to Tosfos. What does Tosfos say? Tosfos says that there's two Gemaras here that says possibly it looks on the surface like they're saying the same thing. The first Gemara says that Shloisha, that's Rabbi Yochanan, Amar Kros Pedai, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Shloisha Sfarim Niftochim b'Rosh Hashanah. And then later on, his Beis Shammai says that Shloisha Sfarim, Shloisha Kitot Hen Leyom Adin. So Tosfos says over here that we're not talking about Olam Hazeh at all. We're not talking about the din of Olam Hazeh on Rosh Hashanah, but rather everything is Olam Haba. First Gemara of Kostefai, Amar Rabbi Yochanan is dealing when a person passes away, that's the din he's going to get. And it is written on Rosh Hashanah, interestingly. It's written, the Siftei Chaim explains what shaykhus Rosh Hashanah to din that a person should have Olam Haba or not have Olam Haba. But we are nidon on Rosh Hashanah whether we're going to have Olam Haba or not. And then there's another din, that's Limoisa Mashiach. So there's three separate periods that a person is nidon. First he's nidon Olam Hazeh on Rosh Hashanah. Then he's nidon also in Olam Hazeh but for Olam Haba. And then when Mashiach will come, that's a third din. According to Tosfos, everybody's nidon on Rosh Hashanah, but nobody sealed on Rosh Hashanah for Olam Hazeh, only for Olam Haba. The tzaddikim and Rishonim are only sealed for Olam Haba in Rosh Hashanah. But what happens in Olam Hazeh is going to be sealed nechtam on Yom Kippur. So according to that, says the Gra, the Remais Meduyuk to say L'Shana Toiva. You wish the kotev. You're not wishing about the sealing as the Magen Avraham brings down. That's beautiful according to Taisus that we all nidon in the same way. So it comes out very good. But according to the Ramban and the Ran, they explain it differently. Again, with the kasha, they all have the same kasha. How is it if a tzaddik is nidon lechaim and a rasha is nidon lemisa right away? How do Rishonim make it? And the tzaddikim don't make it. So the Ramban and the Ran say that what we're talking about over here is that tzaddik bedino, which means it doesn't mean that a person really needs to be a tzaddik, or it doesn't mean a rasha that is really a rasha because of his averis, because he's a rasha, he's a wicked person, but rather, on the contrary, very likely that a tzaddik would be such a person, Bedin is a person that's a rasha. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is meshalem al panav la'avido, ba'olam hazeh. He wants to give him toiv, ba'olam hazeh, in order, why? La'avido. So he comes to the next world without any schusim, and he lets him go. But on the contrary, when we're talking about tzaddikim could be that they are nidon as reshoim. It's rasha bedino. Ve'tzdiku it's a tzaddik, ve'oshiu it's a rasha. It doesn't mean that he's really a tzaddik, he's really a rasha. A person that made an aveira, or tzdiku it's a tzaddik, doesn't mean he's really a tzaddik. It means it's tzaddik badin. So these are basically the main ways of learning this. And we already mentioned the chinuch, that the chinuch comes out very, very good according to that. By the way, the Pnei Yeshua says a beautiful word. Sefer HaChinuch, the Minchas Chinuch brings him down. The Minchas Chinuch says that why is it that we bring over here that Shlosh Sfarim Niftachim, Shel Tzadikim v'Shel Rashoim, it says Nechtamim, they are already sealed. But Benoinim, it doesn't say that they're sealed at all. It doesn't say even they are sealed on Yom Kippur. Says the Pnei Yeshua. Why? Why the Benoinim are never sealed? Why is that? He says, because only on Rosh Hashanah there's the seal, because on Rosh Hashanah, since HaKadosh Baruch Hu Chotamto emes, Kadosh Baruch Hu only seals with an emes chosemes, which means it's got to be correct, it's got to be right. But benoinim, eventually, it's not nidon really a pi emes. It's nidon more that if they did tshuva, they didn't do tshuva, but at the time it was a person is a tzaddik or a rasha, that's nechtam on Yom Kippur more than on Rosh Hashanah more than Yom Kippur. So therefore, dafka it's done on Rashaim and Tzaddikim. Accordingly, we have over here 3 levels. We have Tzaddikim, as we explained, Benoinim and Rashaim. Now, those 3 levels, this is very important to understand, those 3 levels, whether we learn it. By the way, the Rambam seems to learn it kipshutoi. The Rambam says that Rashaim she'ayu Roiv avonoiseihem nidonim lemisa, and then later on he says kashem shenidoinim lo'olam haba kach kashem shenidoinim ba'olam hazeh kach nidoinim lo'olam haba. It seems like he learns it kipshuto. He doesn't elaborate on the questions that we just explained. It seems like if he has more averis or more mitzvahs, that's the way the kipshuto shel Gmara. That's the way it comes out. But we come out over here that we have different levels. We have tzaddikim, we have beinonim, and we have rashoim. But over here, we need to know that the Gemara tells us inside how a person is nidon for each and every one. Tzaddikim, the zoiche, whether the zoiche lo'olam hazeh, on Rosh Hashanah, as we explained, or on Yom Kippur, depends on how you learn and according to who. But the zoiche in olam hazeh, and by the way, they get punished for the averis. That's the Ramban in Sha'ar HaGmuli says. That's the reason you have tzaddik veralo is because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to be mezakehim lo'olam haba. But a tzaddik has averis. So how do you take care of those averis? In this olam hazeh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives him punishment. That's clear things, and same thing by Rashoim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as we explained, pays him this world. But these are the level of tzaddikim. Then you have Beinonim, you have two types of Beinonim, which is very important to understand. You have a Beinoni that doesn't have, from those avoinus, that's called Poishei Soel Begufan. They're not Poishei Soel Begufan, which means they're right in the middle. Famous, by the way, Rav Yitzchak Blazer, he says, why don't you make another mitzvah from Rosh Hashanah till Yom Kippur? In order to not be a Beinoni, you should make another mitzvah. Make another mitzvah, you already tilled the scale. So he says, no, in that time, Dafka Tshuva works, because when you stand in front of Kadosh Baruch Hu and you don't do Tshuva, it's mamash bizarre to Kadosh Baruch Hu that you're not doing Tshuva. That's worse. By the way, this already Chiddush of Yitzchak Blazer is clear in the Ritva. The Ritva on Kiddushin Lametes, Amud Beis, where over there the Gmara says that the Mishnah brings down that Oise Mitzvah Chad Zoiche זויכל לעולם הזה, וסימס כי זויכל לעולם הבא, נאכל את הארץ, ומי שאינו עושה מצווה, אין מטיבין לו, ואינו נאכל את הארץ. That's the Lashon of the Gmara over there. So you have a person that did a mitzvah, that mitzvah that he did tilts the scale. So the Ritva over there is ask the question, the same question. Why don't you do more? Why don't you do over there also? You have the aspect of mate klape chesed, which we'll touch in a second. But the Ritva says that chiddush already, that when a person doesn't do tshuva on those aseres yemei tshuva, it's mamash bizarre to Hakadosh Baruch Hu that he's right now, stands in front of you, and you just ignore the real mitzvah of the day, and therefore Kadosh Baruch Hu, because of that, is not going to be mate klape chesed. By the way, if we're dealing with mate klape chesed, it's another thing that we need to understand.
That mitzvah can't help for the past year. It's only for the past year, not for the coming year.
Chiddush niflo. So let's. I want to summarize over here and make things clear. You have tzaddikim, you have benoinim. Benoinim, you have two types. You have those without. They don't have the poishe yisrael begufan, that aveira of poishe yisrael begufan. What is poishe yisrael begufan? It is, the Gemara says, kakafta de lo manach tefillin, which means a person that never wore tefillin in his life. That's kakafta de lo manach tefillin. But many Rishonim learned it doesn't mean only that, but rather any mitzvah saseh that a person, the Ramban says like this in Sha'ar Gmul as well, a person didn't commit all his life, and he didn't do it because, as Rabbeinu Tam brings down, if he didn't wear tefillin because you couldn't for any reason, so okay, but that's a oinus. It's because it's mevuze be'einav, he doesn't want to put such a leather, or whatever, he has reasons that's not acceptable. Such a person didn't wear them all his life, he would be considered poishe yisrael begufan. Not only that, any mitzvah saseh that a person wasn't mekayim with a fault, it's his fault, and therefore such a thing would be tilting the benoni to be considered now in such a bad place that he goes to now to be punished in Gehenna. He goes to be punished in Gehenna. That's a din lo olam haba again. We're dealing with olam haba. But if he doesn't have this din of poishe yisrael begufan, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mate klape chesed, and he lets him go. Mate klape chesed means HaKadosh Baruch Hu tilts the scale. He takes away the first and the second averos they made. He tilts the scales and he lets them go to Gehenna. It's still considered Beinoni. That's how it seems like from Taisus over there in Kiddushin Lametes. It's still considered a Beinoni. It's not a tzaddik, whatever implication it is, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu tilts the scale for him. So we have those Beinonim without Poishe Yisrael Begufan, without that, and those with. Then you have Rishonim. What's Rishonim? We said Rishonim are those that have more Averos. By the way, when we're dealing with Averos and mitzvahs, the Rambam famous in the third perek, Ilchos Tshuva, says that we're not dealing with the way we understand Averos in quantity, but rather it's quality, and only HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows how to calculate each mitzvah keneged Avera. So when you have Averos more than mitzvahs for the Rishonim, those Rishonim would go they have to pay it in Gehenna. How long they go to Gehenna? 12 months, that's what it is. But that is only when they don't have Poishe Yisrael Begufan, those things that considered Poishe Yisrael Begufan. But if they have such an Aveira of Poishe Yisrael Begufan, again, the example of the Gmara is Kakafta de lo manach tefillin. By the way, very, very important to emphasize that many people, again, not with their fault, but many people have tefillin that are really puzzle. And we see that over and over again. It's a real problem, especially when people buy it. It's a serious problem. When they go to Eretz Yisrael, they buy tefillin. You should know, you order something from them. If you don't know who it's coming from, this is an issue, a real issue. You don't know where it's coming from, it's a plague. They sell you all kind of things that are not kosher. I see this all the time. You need to know that unless you know who you're buying from, it could be very much that you're buying a lemon. Why? Because they know once they send it to America, they never see it again. They have things that are Sug Bet, Sug Gimel, they're not so good. Sometimes Mamish Pasul. Somebody came Mamish 2 weeks ago to Shul. He told me that he has 5 pairs of tefillin that he bought, Leilu Nishmas, his mother, that was Nifteris like a couple of months ago. And if I know anybody that needs tefillin, I told him, wow, wonderful. Where you get this from? He told me Eretz Yisrael. Whenever I hear Eretz Yisrael, right away, a red flag comes up. And then I asked him the second question, which would be, mamash, like, a makeh bepatish. I asked him, okay, so how much did you pay for it? Because dami mudim. Let's hear. If you paid $1,500, $2,000, so then, okay. So you got a good schoira mistama. It needs to be checked to make sure that they didn't rob you completely, because we heard also stories on that gefelach. But he told me $300 a pair. I'm like, wow, $300 a pair. $300 a pair? How is that possible? I made him the calculation how much it costs wholesale. How much it costs. If you go straight to the cipher and you pay, and you're not going to make a penny, you're ending up more than close to triple of that if you're buying anything that's kosher. So he told me he's going to check it. Sure enough, that was a Shabbos Sunday. He checked it, and taka, it was possible, it wasn't good. So he called up the place. A whole story. Why am I saying that? Although it could be that such a person would not be Poishe Yisrael Begufan, because in my say, at the end of the day, he didn't do it despite he wanted to be maniach tefillin. But it's under that parsha. It's very, very serious. Poishe Yisrael Begufan, that's in Russia as well. That's already a horrible thing. Why? Because such a person, the Gmara says that, and the Rambam brings down la halacha, that such a person is nidon also in Gehenum, and then in the end of the day, that is not even zeicha to go to Olam Haba, but rather Ephron nisrafin, nishmasa nisrefet. The Ephron is mispazel raglos tzadikim. It's a terrible thing. Then you have a fourth category, that's a kefelach category, and that is the category of those that are mamash Rishonim that the Gmara over here lists in Rosh Hashanah Tezayin, and the Rambam lists them, and those are the minim, the apikosim, Baalei Lashon Hara, people that constantly speak Lashon Hara, people that oisim averis be'ad rama. There's a whole list over there of those Baalei averis that on them mamish, it says over there that they nidon la'adul olmei alamim gehenam kalev ve'em einam kalim, so on and so forth. Terrible things. So therefore, you have over here those. It seems like it's 6 categories. You have tzaddikim, benoinim, with and without the Poishe Yisrael Begufan, Reshaim as well, and the Reshaim Gemurim, as we explained right now. Within that, you have to understand that you have to do kapara. Well, how do you do kapara? The Arba Chilukei kapara that the Gemara says in Yom Kippurim, in the last parak, and he brings down over there that it depends what a person was violating. A sel lav, or whether it's a capital punishment, isur lav, or it's a chilul Hashem. Aseh miad shoyse tshuva eno zaz misham ad shemoichlim lo, right away. He does tshuva any time during the year. The moichel for him for the aseh. The Siftei Chaim from the Maharal, he brings very beautiful. He says that aseh is just a blemish, you're missing something, so you can just make it up by just doing tshuva. Just like if you, let's say you saw a friend and you didn't say hello to him and he got a little bit insulted. So next time you do tshuva, you just come to him, you give him a hug and you fix it up. But a loisa say it needs more than that. It says tshuva is not enough, it's not sufficient. You have to wait for Yom Kippurim to be moichel, because that already makes a blemish, and you need to have Yom Kippurim to fix that up. And then you have those that are violating something that has to do with a misas beis din or chorus, something that's very severe. A chilul Shabbos, arayas, all kind of things that involved in them very, very severe things, which are either lav sheyesh b'misas beis din, a capital punishment, or a chorus. By the way, what's a chorus? What's a chorus? What is chorus? The Rashi says a chorus means ariri, and chorus. Kol chorus is misas bonim. That's how Rashi says in Shabbos Kafei, which means chorus lo aleinu is a person that his children pass away. And the Ramban argues on him. Ramban in Achemois, he says that no, that's not what it means. He says Ramban beautifully divides it into three parts. He says that sometimes it says that Yamus Ish, sometimes it's Yamus Nefesh, Tamus Nefesh. It's not the Ish, it's the Nefesh. And sometimes it says Chorus. What's the difference between the three? Yamus Ish means that a person that really is a tzaddik. It's tzaddik, but he violated one time a chorus. It was Mechal Shabbos, b'mezid. It was Mechal Shabbos b'mezid. Such a person needs to get chorus, although he's a tzaddik. So he dies in this world. Then you have a Rasha that violated chorus. He dies in the next world. Chorus means cut off. He's cut off from the next world. Although in this world, says the Ramban, he lives a long, beautiful life. You see, Mamash, Rasha v'tovlo. He has a beautiful house, a beautiful car. Everything's beautiful. All his life going well for him. And then you have Chorus, a person that has both. He's also a Rasha, and he's also doesn't have any of those chusim to live, and he's violated Chorus as well. The Riva, in the beginning of the first daf of Yavamis, daf Aleph, Beis Amud Aleph, he brings down, Taisus over there brings down the Riva that says that it depends. A Riri goes only on Arayas, and other Krisus is without Ariri. Ariri is Misas Bonim. That's what it is, Lo Aleinu. Okay, so you have over here different shitas. So chorus is very severe. How a person is mesak in chorus. The Gmara says, and that's how it's nifsek in the Rambam, a person needs to do tshuva, Yom Kippurim, tshuva toile, Yom Kippurim toile, ve'isurim mechaprim. Person chas v'shalom needs to go through suffering. But Rabbeinu Yonah in the fourth parak Shor Tshuva says that if a person gives tzedakah, or he helps out a nim, he speaks good about a nim, or if he can't do that, he speaks to the heart of the ani, or more than everything, he learns and studies Torah, is mamash moisif Torah, so then that's a tikkun. And then you have those that did Chilul Hashem lo aleinu. Chilul Hashem is the worst. And then it's tshuva toila, Yom Kippurim toila, Isurim toilim, and Misa mechaperes. Only when a person passes away, that's the kaparas. Also famous on that, Rabbeinu Yonah. All what I'm saying is famous. I'm just things that I went through on Rosh Hashanah, because that's what you do on Rosh Hashanah. So I'm just giving over what I learned. I'm just summarizing. And so Rabbeinu Yonah says that still a person could be mechaper chilul Hashem, and Kiddush Hashem. A person should be Mekadesh Hashem. How a person is Mekadesh Hashem? He should glorify HaKadosh Baruch Hu, do the things in a way that shows everybody how you machshiv HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and with that you mamash could be Mechaper all these things. I think our time is up, even though I have over here another hour and a half to speak. Do we? I think 7:30, right? People are hungry. Okay, shakar for listening.